My 43 male ex-wife, 38 female, won't stop interfering and sabotaging any relationship I try to have. Sorry, this is sort of a long post, but I want you readers to have the full picture of what's been going on. To give you a little bit of the backstory, my ex-wife cheated on me several times and left me for a guy she met at the gym back in the beginning of 2017. We were divorced by June of 2018. I found out after our divorce about a few more men she slept with before we got separated. Apparently, half the people in our small town knew what was going on, and no one thought it was their place to say anything to me. Anyway, the guy she left me for ended up being very horrible. By the end of 2017, she finally admitted to what was going on and had come to me for help. I told her that she could move back in with the kids and I, and that I would do everything I could to help her get away from that situation. After a couple months of her still getting pulled back in with the abusive boyfriend and constantly going back and forth between our house and the roadside motel the boyfriend lived at, she wanted me to drop the divorce. But I told her that I couldn't do that. I told her that she could stay living with us for as long as she needed, even after the divorce, but the divorce had to continue. Once she knew that I was not backing down on the divorce, she has set out to make my life hell in any way she possibly can. She has sabotaged every relationship I've tried to have. She talks bad about me in front of our 4 children, or even directly to them. She has harassed the women I've dated, demanding their personal information: full legal name, home address, phone number, and social security number. She claimed that she had a legal right to their information, and that she legally was allowed to run a background check on anyone that would be alone with our children or drive them anywhere. She talks badly to our children about whoever I'm dating. She would show up at my house and announce and just walk in the front door without ringing the doorbell or knocking first. If she knew I was out with someone I was dating, she would intentionally start harassing me over text and email with some arguments pertaining to our kids. If she knew I was home with someone I was dating during her parenting week, she would intentionally show up at my house unannounced and let the kids come running to my house. These are just a few examples of the things she does. Most recently, she has now taken me back to court to try and get full custody of our children. Currently, we have 50-50 agreement. I've only dated 3 women since my divorce. The first woman I dated was someone that I met literally 1 week after my divorce. We became friends and hung out only as friends for the first couple of months. I had just finalized my divorce and she was still in the middle of hers. I told her when we first met that I was not ready to date, and she said the same. During this time, because we are not romantically involved, she had met my children. When our feelings for each other became more, we started dating, but it only lasted a couple months. She had one run-in with my ex-wife. 1 week during my parenting time, I was at work and my kids were at my parents' house. My kids wanted to go to my girlfriend's house to play, so my girlfriend went and picked them up. My ex-wife found out that my kids were not at my parents' house and demanded to know where they were. I told her they were at a friend's house playing with other kids. She immediately demanded my girlfriend's personal information, insisting that she had a right to do a background check on her. I, of course, told her that I wasn't going to give her the information. She was making such a stink about it that she showed up at my parents' house demanding that our children be brought back there immediately. My girlfriend didn't want to cause any problems, so she drives my kids back to my parents' house. My ex-wife was there in the driveway, and she immediately got right in my girlfriend's face and started yelling and cursing at her right in front of the kids. She was demanding my girlfriend's personal information. My girlfriend told her that she wasn't comfortable giving her the information, but that she would respect her wishes as a mother, and she would not drive my kids anywhere or be alone with them again in the future. My ex didn't care, and said that because she had already driven them, she had a right to this information. My father had to step in between them, because he was afraid that my ex-wife was going to hit my girlfriend. After this, my girlfriend ended our relationship, as she told me that she couldn't deal with having that in her life. I couldn't blame her, but we are still very good friends to this day. It was about 8 months later before I dated anyone. This relationship lasted almost a year. I learned from my previous short-lived relationship and did everything I could to keep my ex-wife away from this woman. Once this woman met my kids, and my kids started telling their mother how much they liked this woman, that's when the harassment started. My ex-wife showed up at my house one night when she knew I wasn't home, and my girlfriend was here alone with my kids. My ex-wife walked into my house without knocking or ringing the doorbell and began harassing my girlfriend in front of the kids, demanding her personal information. My girlfriend tried to have the conversation moved to the other room away from the kids, but my ex-wife insisted that they be present for the conversation. My girlfriend was feeling extremely pressured and ended up giving my ex-wife all of her personal information. Needless to say, it didn't take long for my ex-wife to start texting my girlfriend and calling her. My ex would talk bad about me all the time to her. This, of course, was causing major problems in our relationship. That, plus the other issues in our relationship, I decided to end the relationship. We are also still friends to this day. Now for the main reason for this post. Last October, I started dating someone. Getting to know this person has been the most amazing experience. We connected on so many levels. I've never in my entire life been in a relationship like this one. Not one red flag, not one argument, just an amazing relationship. Once again, as soon as my ex-wife found out I was dating someone, she started harassing me. I was able to keep my new relationship away from my ex. They never met or spoke to each other. So because my ex-wife couldn't sabotage that way, she started talking badly about this woman to our children. She would tell our son that I didn't care about him anymore, and that all I wanted to do was spend time with my new girlfriend and her 4-year-old son. She would tell our daughters that I didn't care about them anymore because all I wanted to do was spend time with my new girlfriend. Mind you, during this time, my girlfriend had not even met my kids yet. So during my parenting weeks, I did not see my girlfriend at all. During a court hearing for our current custody battle, my ex started saying horrible lies about my girlfriend and her son, telling the judge that she is mean to my kids and that she doesn't respect them, and that her 4-year-old son is horrible, and that all of my kids told my ex-wife that they hated my girlfriend. All of it, of course, was a lie. At the time of this court hearing, my girlfriend had only been around my kids a total of 8 times. She had some over for dinner a few times with her son, and we met her and her son out at some parks a few times. Unfortunately, my girlfriend was in the next room when I was on a Zoom call for this court hearing, so she heard everything that was said about her. This was the beginning of the end of our relationship. She ended it a few weeks later and said that she's in love with me, but she could not take having that kind of stuff in her life. I don't know what to do to force my ex-wife to stop doing what she does. I've brought it up in court. I've spoken to my lawyer. I've sent my ex-wife emails and texts asking her to stop, but nothing seems to work. Now for the top advice. The first thing you need to do is change the locks on your doors. She does not have the right to enter your house at will. Stop taking her calls. Change her number. There are web applications that are approved by the courts to enable co-parenting communications. Our Family Wizard is an example of one of the better-known programs. All communications go through the app and cannot be deleted. Only do child swaps in a location that is safe and has video surveillance. Most police stations have specific areas to enable this. If the harassment continues, file for a protection order. It's a crappy situation you are in. Good luck to you. I tried having us use an app, but she refused to use it. I brought this up in court as well. I also brought up the issue of parental alienation in court. I had screenshots of text messages from my kids talking about all the things she says and does, but the judge wouldn't allow it. He said that it's considered hearsay. You need a new freaking lawyer. Apparently, it's kind of hard to get a restraining order here in New Jersey. Change the locks on your door and speak to a lawyer about full custody followed by a restraining order. Dig up all the horrible stuff she sent and ask your exes if they would be willing to write a statement about the impact of the behavior. The thing is, she's completely out of line, and it's time to play hardball. Stop speaking to her unless it's directly related to your children. See if there's any way for you to prove parental alienation is what she's doing is trying to drive a wedge between you and your children. Yes. In this current custody battle, I filed a cross motion asking for full custody. Also, each one of my ex-girlfriends testified as fact witnesses to talk about their interaction with my ex. We don't communicate unless it's related to our children. I also brought up the issue of parental alienation in court. I had screenshots of text messages from my kids talking about all the things she says and does, but the judge wouldn't allow it. Why does she have unfettered access to your home? What you need is to put all your money into having the best, most ruthless attorney who can get you better custody. Document all the instances of parental alienation. Have your exes be witnesses. She's doing this because there have been no consequences. Start having consequences. All communication unless an emergency goes through your attorney. She doesn't have unrestricted access to my house. Unfortunately, with 4 kids going in and out of the house all day, the front door gets left unlocked often, and or doesn't get closed all the way. I wish I had the money to have all of our communication go through our lawyers. Between my divorce and this custody battle, I've spent upwards of $35,000. Next story. Brother 29 male has proposed to my ex-girlfriend 20 female. My mother expects me to be a groomsman at the wedding, so we can show it's all water under the bridge, and they won't gossip. I 21 male dated Mary, 20 female, since we were 16 and 17. We broke up at the beginning of this year, a month before our 4-year anniversary. We share mutual friends, so I was aware that Mary recently moved into the city. My older brother, 29 male, also lives in the city, but it wasn't until I saw a photo one of our mutual friends took at a party at the beginning of the summer, where she was in the background standing with my brother, that I even knew they had spoken to each other after we broke up. I spoke to the friend who had taken the photo who said that she had seen the two of them together at a party, but she wasn't aware of what their situation was. I confronted my brother, who admitted that they were dating, but it had started within the past few weeks, that it felt like it was alright to begin dating her because I had started dating someone else, so he assumed I wouldn't care. I recently realized they actually began dating a while before that though, as in once we broke up, due to a photo of them kissing where you can see snow falling in the background. I told him that absolutely wasn't the case, that it was a messed up thing to do, and that a sibling's ex should be off limits. He said, oh well, support us or don't. He didn't care. My mother and my aunt totally supported it because they love Mary. So I pretty much stopped going to all family dinner and events because it was incredibly awkward for me and my new girlfriend. Now I found out they're engaged. My mom called me and told me I'm expected to be one of my brother's groomsmen, and that me showing and supporting him is the only way people won't gossip. Like it's all water under the bridge and we've squashed all of our beef. I don't feel like it's water under the bridge or squashed. I don't want to go to his wedding or pretend to support their marriage. My mom is flipping out on me for saying I won't go. I hate to make her upset, but I don't think I could stomach it. How do I deal with my family here? I've been raised that family is everything, but I'm incredibly tempted to just go no contact with all of them. Your mom wants you to be the groomsman so that your brother feels less guilty and it looks less scandalous. Yes, that's exactly the reason. I wouldn't give them the satisfaction. Or show up and give a speech and start talking about how you've slept with a bride many times. I remember the first time my brother met Mary, when she was 16, in school, and he was 25 at a full-grown adult. Luckily, he didn't do anything about it then, because he might be a scumbag who puts his prick over his brother's feelings, but at least he's not a nun's, that I know of. Wait, so it's only been a few months and he's already asking her to marry him and he's 9 years older than her? Holy crap! Just bask in the satisfaction that this will not end well, let alone amicable, and tell your mom to buzz off. The only way this timeline makes sense if she's pregnant. Either that or this has been going on long before the breakup. Ask your mother why she's more worried about people gossiping than she is about your feelings. I would also find this difficult and hurtful. You don't have to go to the wedding, or anywhere else you might see your brother at his fiancé/her ex. She's worried about gossip because she knows what it looks like. Last story is titled, He Cheated and Destroyed Our Family. My husband and I are both 36. We met in college and have been together for 17 years. Married for 10 years and just had our first and only child 2 years ago. He travels a lot for work and is usually gone for several months at a time. Last year, Corona halted that. He started traveling again in November. A woman had joined their team, and they had become chummy. I have no issue with him having female friends, but the relationship always made me feel a little odd, especially after meeting her. She is his type. I even made a comment about that to him, and he told me I was overthinking it and that he's married. She's in a relationship and has a 12 or 13-year-old with a guy. I put it out of my mind because he's never given me any reason to doubt him or not trust me in the past. He goes on a work trip the end of January for 3 weeks. He tells me she isn't going. It's just him and some guy he works with. Okay, no biggie. I remember FaceTiming him on Valentine's Day. We talked before and after this, but you'll see why this is an important date soon. And him not picking up. The next day told me he was swamped with work. Again, I think nothing of it. This has happened in the past before she was in the picture and she's not on the trip. He comes back and everything seems normal. In May, he's on another work trip. I couldn't get a hold of him for 2 days, so I started to panic thinking something happened. I check his computer to see if he's in a meeting and see a bunch of text for her. She was on that work trip in January/February and she's pregnant. I lose my freaking mind. Still can't get a hold of him, so I wait until he comes home to have the conversation with him. He admits everything and tells me it's not serious. It had been going on since before Christmas, and he doesn't even know if the baby is his. It is. He loves me, but is extremely attracted to her, while he wants to work on us. I kicked him out. It took a few days, but I end up tracking down the boyfriend and tell him what's going on. He's also not happy and said he knew his girlfriend had been acting weird. Ironically, we're both friends now. I barely talk to my husband besides about our child. Then I found out today they're living together, and the baby was conceived on Valentine's Day. I finally thought I was in a better headspace and find this out. Fuming is putting it mildly. I know this sounds super crappy, but I don't know how I'm going to co-parent with this garbage can for the rest of my life. Holy smokes. I wish you nothing but the best. Stay positive and focus on you and your kid. I'm trying, but it's so hard when one dumpster fire after another is dropped on you. Just remember they won't end up happy. They're both liars. They're both cheaters. They've fast-tracked a relationship with an unwanted pregnancy. They're the dumpster fire. It will end badly, so get your popcorn ready. Here's where my petty side comes out. I can't wait to watch it all fall apart. I'm just glad you kicked him out. Some women wouldn't even do that. If it was a one-time thing, maybe we could have worked through that in therapy. But no way in hell a months-long affair resulting in a pregnancy. Don't forget to have a look at reporting the relationship after the divorce too. But that's because I'm a petty a-hole.